Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, I believe the 25th. The days kind of go by so fast right now. And I'm going to just let you all know ahead of time I'm probably going to run with a few different messages on the morning. YouTube gives me 15 minutes for each one. I've really got to spice it up. And I tend to run along as you guys have seen. But today, there's a lot to talk about, a lot I'd like to talk about. So I'm sure I'm going to run along. So, anyway, thank you guys for everything for following me. I try not to be redundant, but I also don't know who's seeing what, so sometimes I purposely repeat some things. Um, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. I got a good night's sleep with this amazing family I want to talk about. So, yesterday, let me try to recap yesterday before I go any further. No, that's not true. I want to do one other thing. I want to shout out to somebody. Folks, I've gotten so much support, and there's so many ways to reach out to me. With technology, I'm a goof, as you know. I get messages on YouTube, I get messages on Facebook, I get messages um, in this messenger thing, I get messages to my email account. I get a lot of messages, and I try to get back to everybody. I think it's really important. One, it certainly fills up my day and it makes the day go better. But two, if you take the time to reach out and say something to me in any capacity, even if it's a negative comment, I try to reach out back to you to at least say thank you for reaching out. Sometimes I forget or I miss folks, and for that I'm sorry. But there's one group that has always been really, really great with me. And I saw a message. Sometimes I just see a little header across the top. I couldn't find it, but I go to my doctor, uh, WellSpan Family Medicine, on Roosevelt Avenue. Dr. Harburger, great guy, just really great guy. But his staff is amazing, and they've been behind me because I had to go there to make sure I prepped everything since day one. If you remember, they gave me a nice going away present with some little snacks and food and some other things, a gift card. So peace out to them, and I love you guys. And I know you reached out to me in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it was the group, I don't know if it was Kia, whoever, but I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't get back to you. It's been bothering me, and I've been meaning to address it. Now I did. So, Roosevelt Family Medicine, or WellSpan Family Medicine, Roosevelt Avenue. Guys, I love you. I miss you. Thanks for following, uh, and I appreciate it. And to anybody else I may have missed, I promise you I've read your comment to me. If I haven't gotten back to you, it's just simply an oversight. It's not me trying to be rude or ignorant in any way. I appreciate everything you guys send me. In fact, it's such motivation for me. Um, I did an interview yesterday with somebody. I'll talk about that story. But in the interview, he mentions it, and you'll see it on my hopefully my webpage today. But I really actually get a high when I meet people and get comments or give, it just really builds me up and gets me through. So continue to do it, please, guys. I really appreciate it. So yesterday, I'm already running long, but yesterday um, I had a wonderful night the night before meeting Jesse and a couple of the folks, and I got dropped off at my pickup point there, and it was still dark out. So I headed on the bypass. The bypass is kind of like a four-lane highway, but it has about a 4-foot shoulder. So if I'm in the dark, I have my reflectors on, but at least I've got a 4-foot buffer zone. When you get off the bypass and you do the things they call Old Lincoln Highway, or Lincoln Highway West, or Lincoln Highway East, they're little two-lane roads, one in each direction, and the shoulder's about this wide. So I just won't walk on that in the dark. It's dangerous enough kind of just walking across the country. I'm not going to increase my chances. I have my kids and my family want to get back to in the worst way. So, um, so that was a little. So I got dropped off. It was dark. I walked a few miles, um, and then I found the part I was going to break off of on my little map on my phone, and it was still dark. So I just kind of parked it, waited for sunrise to do my morning video, and go from there. So I took off once the daylight hit. Left my video for you guys, and was walking a bit, and I'm trying to think of the first thing that came up. So the first thing that came up was I was coming across a large warehouse. Didn't know if it was a warehouse, a manufacturing plant, or what it was. And again, I'm doing this journey for humanity to see how people react to things. So I put out a live stream and said, hey, I'm going to go try to do something. I'll get back to you with the results. So what happened was um, I went into this building, and it turned out to be a large manufacturing plant of auto glass. I believe the company's name is Vitro, uh, if I'm saying it properly, and I think they're a subsidiary of Pittsburgh Glassworks. So anyway, you can look at my other videos, but I walked into the office and it was a locked vestibule. no people. I was hoping to engage somebody, let them know what I was doing, see how they react. I had lost my one phone charger and needed to charge my phone. Um, so I went in there. There was a phone listing. Called up. I called up HR a couple times. I wasn't going to call, the shipping receiving managers and the inventory managers and bring them all the way up just for me. So I plugged my phone in and I sat there for a few minutes. And there was a security booth outside for all the trucks and things. But I know if I went there, it probably would have been 37 phone calls, and one of them would have been, we got to wait for so and so to get in before, and that would have just wasted time and not accomplished anything. So I went into the office, and we're gonna run way long today. Started to charge my phone, and I heard some voices behind the door. So I got up and knocked on the door, hoping to just say, "Hey guys, I'm here. Is it okay? I don't want to be loitering or trespassing or anything like that." Nothing. But a few seconds later, the phone rang. So I picked up the phone, and I guess there's a security camera up above. Security said, "Hey, what are you doing? What do you need?" And I explained what I was doing. I said, "I just don't want to be, loitering or getting in any trouble or anything like that." And the guy was very cool. He said, "Look, you know what? Charge it up. I think you're okay unless they come out and tell you you're not okay. In the meantime, just charge it up." So I did, and finally, about 15 minutes later, this young lady walked in. It was her second day on the job. She didn't know anything about it. Another gentleman walked in. He was able to get through the door, but didn't know anything about what was going on. He was new as well, but he got somebody. And I was sitting there charging. This gentleman came out and helped the young lady to get her to her training room, and asked me, if he could help me. And I just explained what I was doing and gave him my card. And he said, "Yeah, you're fine. Just stay there," which was great. So a little disappointing in the sense that I wasn't able to talk about the journey and what point to thumb means, because you can definitely apply point to thumb in the business world as well. In fact, it works very well in the business world, especially an area where you have large shifts and lots of employees and things like that. But what was nice, I was charging. About 10 minutes later, that same man came out and said, "Hey, this is for you. Wish you luck on your trip. Give me a clean, dry shirt, a couple of bottles of water." So again, there's that gesture, that small gesture. I don't know if he looked at my site, didn't look at my site, just knew I was walking across America, and that was enough for him to help me out. So that was kind of a nice little test. I wish I could have engaged a little bit more, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it about an 8. Got my desired results, got to meet some people. Would love to have been able to meet a few more, but it was a good opportunity. So thank you to that gentleman and to the company for letting me charge my phone and move on. So further up the road, it was really neat. I came across a little diner, and I forgot the name of the town. I have the picture. I want to say Claremont, but I'm not sure if that's right. But when I would do the walking, the reality is that I don't engage anybody when I'm walking. Nobody stops to talk to me. No, in my own world, when I did this, I always call it my Opie for Mayberry thoughts. I thought I'd be, waving at people on their lawnmowers and moms out playing with their kids, and I'd be engaging people and telling them about what I'm doing and spreading the word, and that doesn't happen at all. Cars don't stop and pull over. Occasionally I get a nice honk and a wave, which I really love, so please do that. If you see me, you know who I am. But really, the walking is just means getting from one point to another. The only stories and engagement I get comes from stopping in these places, where it's a mini mart to get some fresh water, charge a phone, rest my feet, and I talk to the few folks that are there, a diner, a McDonald's, or whatever. But as somebody said to me, because I kind of mentioned, hell, I could drive to each location and do the same thing, and certainly save my wear and tear. But maybe that's the next trip. So anyway, the walking part of it just literally gets me from one place to another. And so as I said, this journey, it has nothing to do. I'm crossing America, and maybe that's the term I should use, is that I'm crossing America, not necessarily walking across America, because as I get into the later far western states, there's going to be such big gaps in there. I've got to kind of maybe make an amendment to my plans. Anyway, the next stop along the journey was this little diner. And I sat down to these older gentlemen, Ken and Fred, and they took an interest in it was so nice and genuine. And what I found, quite honestly, is in the older generation, they're a little bit skeptical if I go to hand out a card or something like that. And these folks weren't that old, don't get me wrong, but they a little older than me. But they were just completely engaging and supportive, and asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions to them, and learned a great deal. But again, this is one of those things where the book will tell a lot more than I'm doing on the video. So I made my way up further, and at that point, earlier in the day, I told you I lost this little battery pack, and I put an APB out, said, hey, if anybody, people are asking how they can help, someone could run one out to me, it'd be great. I didn't really think anything would happen of it. Um, but lo and behold, as I was walking up across, I think it was Beck Road, there's a gentleman in a Jeep parked about 10 feet behind a stop sign. And I never just want to walk in front of somebody. I kind of asked for permission, and when I made eye contact and did, he's like, come here. And he took off his glasses, and it's a gentleman I met the night before, him and his family, and he was already gracious the night before. And he goes, remember me from last night? And I said, yeah, I do. Thank you for what you did. And he goes, you didn't have to do that. And he goes, well, here, I got something for you. And he handed me a battery charger pack. And my phone had been dead. I couldn't talk to anybody, reach out to anybody. And it was the most amazing thing. Not only did he go out of his way to get it, he went and found me on my path here, and he hooked me up. Can't thank him enough. Todd Ivy, much love to you, man. I was so excited. I wanted to take a picture, but I guess I didn't even think I could take a picture of my regular phone. I don't need charge for that. I don't know, my battery, it was dead. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't get a picture of Todd, but he gave me his business card, which has his picture, so I was able to, identify the gentleman. I think as I reviewed the tape, it was probably backwards. But anyway, Todd Ivy. Just an amazing gesture, and can't thank him enough. So I parked right down and sat down and started to I wanted to spread that word as quick as I can about what a nice story, right? And as I did that, while my phone was dead, I got a few other emails, and then I got one from a gentleman. Oh, puppy's out back. From a gentleman named Max Miller, and he, I don't know the title, but he runs the tourism branch of Bucyrus, Ohio. So he said, hey, I got an email from a friend of yours that said you were coming through town, just wanted to kind of check on your ETA and when you're due in. I was making really good time yesterday. And what happened is one of my earliest and truest supporters of this, who's believed in me from the beginning, reached out. I'm sure he's reached out to a bunch of folks, but said, hey, my buddy Jim's coming through town, pretty cool story if you're interested. So apparently Steve reached out, got Max, and Max saw the email, contacted me, and I said, yeah, I should be in around 3 o'clock or so. Maybe a little sooner, maybe not. But love to talk to you and chat with you when you get there. So continued walking, and we walked a few more miles, and we were kind of chatting back and forth. And he said, look, if you want, I can come grab you. And at this point, maybe I'm 4 miles outside of Bucyrus, maybe 2 or 4 miles, I don't know. But again, this walk isn't about taking every step. I could have walked those extra, 4 miles, had less time with Max. The story's about the people, right? The story's about the friendships and the humanity, or the lack of it, that I'm coming across. So I said, well, look, you know what? I have no problem with that. If it's not putting you out, I'll keep walking, and when I see you, I see you. So sure enough, he came out and got me, and he brought me into town, and he didn't have to do that, but what a great little town. Sometimes a town is defined by the people. Sometimes the town defines itself with just regardless of the people. And this town happens to be both. Really cool people, great downtown. But the town, everywhere I went, Ken and Fred at the diner told me, you got to go see this Copper Works. I think the last, I'm going to say probably, coppersmith that's working in America. And you got to see some of these murals. So luckily in the downtown area, they're all very, very close to each other. In fact, the Coppersmith is literally the building behind Max's. So we got in the town, and I was able to dry off my wet clothes and put on some dry clothes, which is always a good feeling. I didn't know I wanted to offer to Max, and he shares an office with a couple of other kind of not-for-profits, not the Better Business Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce rather, and say, look, if you can use me somehow and to help you in your cause, feel free if you want to take some pictures or whatever. So we did some of that, and then Max basically turned me loose. Kind of leave at 4:30, and turned me loose to kind of check out the town, take some pictures, meet some people, and kind of do what I do. So I did that for about an hour. The truth of the matter is I hadn't been sleeping for the last 2 or 3 nights, so I was wiped out, or I slept, but not a lot of hours. And they have a little town square with a fountain and this giant mural, and I just kind of sat down and I was relaxing. At one point I laid on the grass, and this gentleman came up to see me, and, are you okay? So I said, yes, I'm sorry, and I pulled my card out and gave my spiel. But what I thought was neat about that was that, as I told you, sometimes it's a little thing. There have been times where I've been sat on the side of the highway almost looking like I'm passed out. In fact, sometimes I can't even play it up to see if anybody will even pull over just to see if I'm okay, and nothing. They just go racing on by. I'm not blaming them or judging them, but again, this gentleman didn't have to come out. In this day and age, you never know what's going on, and